Right, let's just jump straight into it. Today, we're unpacking a tool that is making some absolutely massive claims in the content creation space right now. It's called TubeGraphics. Now, if you've spent any time at all looking into AI content tools lately, you've probably seen the hype. But in this explainer, we're going to cut right through the marketing fluff. We're digging into the actual source reviews and documentation to see exactly how this whole system works under the hood.
So, to start us off, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how one top creator can upload, say, a single 20-minute video on a Monday, and then by Wednesday, that exact same video has magically become an entire ecosystem of posts? I mean, suddenly it's a carousel on LinkedIn, it's a bunch of infographics on Pinterest, it's a massive thread on X. It kind of feels like they're literally everywhere all at once, right? Well, the source review we're analyzing today highlights a really powerful realization about this exact phenomenon. Quote, "The people winning online are not necessarily creating more ideas. They are repackaging ideas better." That is absolutely crucial. The secret to scaling your presence isn't always sitting down and sweating to brainstorm an endless supply of brand new ideas. No, it's actually about mastering the art of transformation. It's about taking one really dense, high-value piece of knowledge and adapting it for entirely different audiences. Now, producing highly structured, valuable visual assets usually looks a little something like a beautiful, save-worthy SEO and AI search course infographic. You know the kind. Perfect structure, clean icons, a sharp breakdown of search intent, and maybe a neat 30-day action plan at the bottom. But here's the thing, creating an asset of that caliber manually, it's incredibly heavy lifting. It typically requires an entire team, designers, copywriters, and hours, if not literal days, of manual labor just to extract the knowledge and format it perfectly. Or take a 30-day plan to blow up on TikTok. This is exactly the kind of high-value output every creator and marketer is chasing. Why? Because it commands attention, it gets saved, and it gets shared like wildfire. But the friction required to create it manually, starting from a blank screen or staring at a messy, raw video transcript, well, that right there is exactly what causes massive creator burnout. So there's a really stark contrast between that exhausting manual workflow and the shortcut our source material promises. On one side, you've got the old grind, right? You got to find a video, sit through the whole thing, dig out the transcript, clean up the messy formatting, wrestle with AI prompts, and then try to design it. But on the other side is the TubeGraphics claim. You literally just click a video, let the tool extract the data, and it automatically generates the graphic. Which brings us to the tool itself. Now, the source review explicitly notes that we really shouldn't think of TubeGraphics as some completely independent, standalone AI that creates everything from scratch. Nope. Instead, it's actually just a Chrome extension. Its entire purpose, its whole reason for existing, is to completely kill that awful manual grind we just talked about. Let's cut through the hype and clarify exactly what it is under the hood. TubeGraphics is defined as a workflow accelerator. Basically, it acts as a bridge between YouTube and your existing ChatGPT account. It automatically extracts the video transcripts and then feeds beautifully structured visual briefs directly into ChatGPT. So it's not replacing your AI, it's making your AI dramatically more useful by handling all the messy, tedious data entry for you. The sources break this down into a hyper-fast pipeline. First, you open a YouTube video. Next, it captures the transcript automatically. Then, you pick your brand style, generate the brief straight to ChatGPT, and finally, publish. The big claim here is that this takes you from watching a YouTube video to having a finished infographic brief in just seconds. Okay, hold on. Right about now, you might be thinking exactly what the reviewer thought. Wait a second, doesn't ChatGPT already make images? And you know what? That is a completely valid, totally skeptical perspective. If we already have access to image-generating AI, why on earth would anyone need a dedicated extension for this? Well, here's the kicker. Getting ChatGPT to just draw a picture was never the hard part. The real bottleneck, the actual problem this tool solves, is everything that happens before the image generation even starts. TubeGraphics pulls the transcript directly from the player in one single click, even on videos where normal extraction tools completely fail. Plus, it bypasses complex prompt engineering entirely by automatically deriving smart structures. So, if the video is about common mistakes, it automatically formats a mistakes to avoid graphic. If it's a tutorial, boom, it formats a step-by-step checklist. You can really see this smart structuring in action with complex frameworks. The tool doesn't just dump a giant wall of text onto an image. That would look terrible. Instead, it analyzes the context of the YouTube video and automatically selects the exact right framework.
We're talking distinct sections, clean old way versus AI way comparisons, and perfectly summarized key takeaways at the bottom.
But it goes beyond just basic generation. The sources highlight some really cool operational features that prevent that cheap, generic AI look we all hate. It actually remembers your specific brand colors and fonts. It offers one-click refinement so you can easily make things bolder, simpler, or fix text. And, super importantly, it includes a commercial license. This means freelancers and agencies can immediately monetize the output. That's a massive shift. Suddenly, you aren't just saving time, you're instantly building assets that have real, sellable value to your clients.
All right, let's talk economics, starting with the monthly subscription cost. Notice that giant zero? The reviewer rightly points out how absolutely exhausting software subscriptions have become lately, what with all the hidden usage meters and sneaky API costs. Because TubeGraphics simply runs as a bridge to your existing ChatGPT account, it completely bypasses all those recurring monthly API fees. So what's the actual catch? What does it cost? The official marketing material presents a $26 one-time payment for lifetime access. However, to remain completely objective here, we definitely have to note that the source review actually mentions an initial entry point of $12.95, which sits alongside a series of optional upsells, plus an annual upgrade for higher volume operators. But honestly, regardless of which specific launch tier you hit, the one-time barrier to entry here is unusually low for the AI software space. When we weigh the reality of this tool, the pros are undeniably compelling. I mean, you get unreal execution speed without the heavy burden of monthly recurring costs. Combine that with a basically zero learning curve and full commercial rights, and you've got a highly accessible, incredibly low-risk infrastructure. For anyone out there trying to seriously scale their content pipeline, removing those operational hurdles is an absolute game changer. But hey, to keep things totally balanced, we have to look at the limitations too. This is not a magic wand. The whole garbage in, garbage out rule, yeah, that heavily applies here. If a video lacks clean captions or real solid expertise, your output is definitely going to suffer. Plus, you still absolutely need an active ChatGPT account, and your entire workflow is restricted to the Chrome browser. It amplifies what you give it, for sure, but it doesn't just invent knowledge out of thin air. So when you look at the pros and cons together, you really arrive at the core identity of the product. The source review summarized it beautifully. TubeGraphics is a content multiplication system disguised as a Chrome extension. At the end of the day, it's really less about drawing pretty pictures and entirely about taking valuable knowledge that already exists and scaling it effortlessly. And that brings us to a really major philosophical takeaway from this explainer. The reason most people fail at content creation isn't a lack of brilliant ideas. Not at all. It's the friction. Friction kills execution. Think about it. If a single post takes 3 hours to do, you'll eventually just stop doing it. But if a tool can remove that friction, execution becomes easy. And in the digital landscape, execution always wins. Look, the internet already contains way more high-quality, expert information than any of us could possibly publish in a lifetime. The challenge isn't finding ideas anymore, it's transforming them. So if you start viewing every video in your niche not just as something to idly watch, but as a free, unmade asset just waiting to be transformed, well, what video are you going to transform first?